Masechta Chullin Daf Kuf Yud Beis Amir Aleph. We're starting from Daf Kuf Yud Aleph Amir Beis. 9 lines from the bottom, starting with the words Rav Huna. That's right. Rav Huna, Rav Chiba, Rav Ashi have a Yasvi. First of all, I want to tell you again about not by not. Okay, no trauma, and Nunt has no trauma. Okay, so he says not by not. This means like you have a plate. That's a fleshige plate. What does it mean, a fleshige plate? You had hot meat in there, and the plate absorbed it from the flesh. Then you take a fish, which is hot, and you put it in. So you have from the plate that now goes from the meat into the fish. Now you take from the fish, and you put it into a kutach. Kutach is like a sour
milk.
A sour milk with bread. It's a dip. It's a dip. Yeah, it's a dip, but it's bread with sour milk. So. B'chlal, we have in it when we learned the other day. There's a mandam that says not banat is mutter. Why? Because not banat is a from tam kikar. Tam kikar means if the taste is there, even if you take out the sauce from it, but since the taste is there, it hasn't been like the main part. But once it comes to tam shlishis, it's very, very weak. So they said this is like tam shlishis. It started off in the wall of the plate, went into the fish, now the fish into the kutach, so it's already called tam shlishis. So there's a gather from tam shlishis it's not considered as a really nice and tam.
Three levels, right?
3 levels. That's why it's called tam shlishis. Yeah. So, but others say no, not banat is considered the taste no matter how far it goes, and you have to see if the taste is still there. It's gonna answer. Okay.
That's like a killer. It's awesome.
Not banat. We
Even the one that said this also is that's.
Not ban a nice and tam. There's a machlekes at the end. I don't know. I think the halacha is that it's still is yeah. We said it before. I saw it on the bottom that the halacha is mutter, but it's also with limitations. Okay, it's just that I just want to bring out the not banat. Rav Huda Rav Chiba Rav Ashi have a yasvi. Rav Huda Rav Chiba Rav Ashi, but Ashi were all sitting. And Chad Bahagis the Ma'abar the Suda. One was sitting on one side of the bridge, which was on one side of the river. The Chad Bahagis the Ma'abar, and one was sitting on the other side of the bridge, which was on the other side of the river. To one of the Amarayim, they brought Dogim Sha'alu B'Koira. This is the famous case again. The fleshke plate, which had hot meat before, and it had absorption of meat, and he put in fish, which was they say hot, which absorbed from the plate. And now to ve'achol be'kutach, and he ate it with this milk dip. The kutach is like we said, sour milk with a piece of bread in it.
Who was eating? Which one was eating?
One of the Amarayim.
Doesn't say which one.
1 second. One of the Amarayim, they brought this. It doesn't say who yet. Lamar Aisalei, and to the second Amarayim, they brought te'enim, va'anovim, Suda, figs and grapes in the middle of the Suda, not to eat with bread. I'm specifying not to eat with bread. Because anything that's eaten with the bread, you don't have to make another bracha. But stam in the Welterein, if somebody, maybe you washed and you took bread, sitting down to the Suda, and then you decide, I want ice cream. Or I want a fig, you have to make another bracha, not a bracha achena, but you do have to make another bracha, according to other days. So what happened over here? They brought him to Einim, Anovim, B'Seicha Suda, V'yach V'loi Baruch. He ate it. He didn't make Nishkim Bracha Rishena, Nishkim Bracha Achena. Everything was perfect. Ma Amalei L'Chavrei. So one Amir said to his friend, Yasma. Yasm means no father, no mother. Here it means Chosadas. You're missing a lot of knowledge. He says, Ma Amalei Chavrei. Yasma, Alvid Rabba Chachim. You Rabba. Do so. Who are you following? Did your Rav Taka do such a thing? Did he ask him to eat the fish that came from a fleshke plate to eat with kuta? And the other one said, Yasma, you Yasm.
About the
yeah, now he's asking me Tzirik. He said, when we were kids, du bist a level. Name, du bist a level. Each one called the other one another. Anyway, so Yasma, he says to the other one, Yasma, you went ahead, you took fruits that had nothing to do with this, and you didn't even make a bracha, not a bracha rishena. Forgive it, okay, nishki bracha rishena, but it says he didn't make either. Of the Rabbi Chachi, did your Rebbe do this way? Who are you following? Ma'am lechavrei. So the one that ate the hot fish coming out of a plate, which had absorbed meat in it. So now the hot fish had taken out from the walls of the hot plate, and he ate it in the kutter. He says, you know who I did it like? Shmuel's I hold like Shmuel. Shmuel's the one that served Rabbi Luz, and he didn't want to eat. So he said to Rabbi Luz, why aren't you eating? Your Rebbe, Rav, I served him. And then Rav didn't even know that he ate it. He didn't believe he ate it. He didn't believe Shmuel would serve him. Anyway. And the other one said to him, the one that ate the grapes and the figs, that not with bread, and he didn't make a bracha, he says, I hold like Rab Chia. They told Rab Chia that Rab Chia had learned, pas poiteres kol mini machol. There's bread, patas with it is potter with the bracha, patas with its bracha of amoitzi, it patas all the food that is brought in the middle of the Suda, no matter what. Grapes, even though it's not together with the bread.
Grapes and often at the end of a Suda would be maybe a different day.
It's kinuach. And la it's any kinuach, called up kinuach.
No, maybe it was
you do make a bracha.
The teicha Suda, in other words, eating with the bread, he was eating the
No, we're saying, but Fedish not. It was not. He's just, had nothing to do with the bread. The chayin, or the yayin pointer, and he says the yayin, that you make the bracha on the wine, patas all the drinks, kol mini mashke, all the drinks that will come after, you don't have to make another bracha. That's how you pass. Okay, so we finished the inyan of nat banat. Oma Chizkiya Mishum Abaye. Chizkiya had said in the name of Abaye, Hilchas Dog Mishal Bekara, this is a famous case, the fish that came out of a fleshke plate, and there was hot fish that absorbed from the plate. So what's the halacha? Could he eat it with the kutach? Mutter loichel kutach. Nat banat is mutter. Here you have the halacha. Noisan tam, but noisan tam is going to be mutter. Tzinoin, shechatoch besakin, a radish which is sharp, and he cut it with a knife. Shechatach babasa with a knife that already had cut meat, that he shechted, let's say meat, or he cut meat. Asur la'oichle b'kutach. That, even though it's noisan tam, but noisan tam, which we just paskin that it's mutter, but if it's a tznoin that he used a knife that was already used for meat, and he cut it into the tznoin. Tznoin is the radish, and the radish he cannot dip it into the kutach. Why? Anamili tznoin, only because the tznoin it's sharp, so it's not considered nuisen tam. It's like the tam mamoshi is. It's the etzem. It's like the etzem thing there, so it's not considered nuisen tam. The agav churfei bala, because of its charifus, it's absorbing.
It's nine.
So it's nine. So the tznoin is called a tam gomor. It's not called nice and tam. He phrases it from the Rishonim over here that it's called a tam gomor. Okay. So Gemara Avo, what's if he took the knife which he cut basa with? He cut a kishus, a squash. A squash is sweet. Gorir levei piske. All he has to do is shave off the place of where the cut was, and then everything is fine. You could take that squash and dip it into kutach.
Why? Because his bussa comes off the knife.
Bussa comes off the knife, right? But he
but
says
the
just
knife is clean, even though it cut the meat.
The problem is so the Gemara is going to say there are two reasons. Either on the knife there's leftover remnants which you're not from the fatty part of the meat, and you don't see it, and you cut it. Or the etzem tchifa, the pressure, the pressing of the knife, that in itself causes that it should be nice and tam.
Because you come from the knife.
From the doichik of the chituch of the cutting.
Because there's butter in the knife.
In the knife, sure, there's butter. That will.
Anytime you see when you cut meat, you see there's
still that's a remnant. That's one. There's another day that says when you press. So and you're cutting, somehow it releases harder. So that area where it's cutting, you should shave off that area. Okay, if I can find it, I'll find it. But I saw that in the bottom before. Here, yes, I'll can gabin yikanchus asakin hated. The first one is because you don't clean the sakin hated. But even if you somehow you realized everything, you cleaned that knife spotless, right? Es hasaken heit misham nunis habas shapana. ואחר כך יחת עמו הצנעים, יעשה הצנעים לא יכלו לקוטר, שהצנעים מאחוז חריפוסי, ולא יהיה גם איתם, הבס הבלו בסקה, ידי דרך החיתו. לא יעיד על שחריפוסי של הצנעים, גנבס לא יהיה איתם הבס של בסקה. He says that chifus is the part that pushes it. That was by the tznoim. But even by kishus, we're going to say the same thing. Okay.
When you cut the knife into the snow, you're pushing in.
You're pushing. When you're cutting into it, it releases stronger.
From the knife.
From the knife. Kirche de lifter. What about the leaves? I don't know what you call those. But you know, the stalks that come out of the turnips. Is it called stalks? Or like by a radish, you have on the bottom radish, and you have the stalks. It's called sprouts. So the stalks that come out of it. So too, you have with the turnips, you have the same. You call it sprouts? Okay, the sprouts that comes.
That's what it's officially.
You have the English. What is
Turnip
it?
is what's the kind of an onion? What is a turnip?
A turnip is it's also sweet.
What's the word?
Oh, it's also sweet.
Yeah, but the kilchi de lifti.
What does it say?
Well, we gotta find it.
On the next, you're on the right page.
Next page. I just read the first one.
No. You went too far. No, it should be here. Kilcha de lifti shari. One cuts turnip stalks.
Stalks.
Oh.
Is that what I said?
No,
I said
almost.
sprouts.
You said stalks. Okay, good. Kilcha de lifti. Okay, the stalks of the turnip. Shari, it's mutter to eat it in the kutter because the lefes is sweet. Sweet is mavatal the charifas. I mean, the sweet doesn't bring it out. If it's sharp, then it brings out whatever's in the knife. The silka is already beads. So if you're talking about beads, that's already sharp. Asiri, it's asa because the
Says
sharpness.
the stalks of beets also, not just the beet.
The stalks of the beets, yeah, it's sharp. The lifter, sharper. But what's if you had a mixture? You took the knife, you cut the stalks of the beets, which is sharp, and then you used it to cut the stalks of the lifter, which is sweet, the turnips. So we say that Tama Hamosik Shalalefes is mevatel, is going to be mevatel the sharpness, the Tama Shamnunis of the sakin. The lefes will be mevatel the sweetness will be mevatel the part that comes out of the sakin.
And then you can eat it with kuta.
First is the sweet.
Depends which one did he cut first.
First he cut the sweet.
First he cut the sweet and then the sharp.
Yeah, because that's
Iron
the sweet.
שכחות היחס של אפס, והיחס של...
Does say it. So he says mutter lachol. Even if the kalchi ateret, even if the kalchi ateret, that's the chiddush. The emesis can sein verkehrt, but that's the chiddush that even though he started off with the lefes and he ended off with the sharp, and now the sharp he's going to put it in the kutach, it's still mevatel. It was mevatel. That's the chiddush for Rashi. Verkehrt zicher. Here. Even though that the lefes came before, he brought down from Rashi that even if the last one was the sharpness, and that was the one, it's going to be mevatel. It's not going to have that power. Okay,
Sweetness is mevatel, right?
Sweet is mevatel. Das sein Zis, ja. Soll sein Aziz ja.
The sweetness.
Ja, soll sein Aziz ja. So mevatel sein alle gesehen. Boime nei. Rav Dimi berav Nachman, mal anu hikade de milcher, gav hikade de kamcha. What's the din? Are you allowed to put a jug of salt next to the jug of kutach? What's the problem? If the kutach in the olden times, maybe even today, people have open salt. So they eat chicken and they take a little bit salt. So in the salt now has a little bit of gravy. And then you want to take it and put it in milchiks. So you're going to have a mixture of everything in it.
Makes sense.
But today, I don't think this would be a shiloh.
It's
I'm a layer. I'm not going to
say
say it's also. But today we have salt shakers.
Not always.
So you don't stick it. Oh, not always. If you have open salt and you're eating milchiks and you put in your,
Sometimes you have a little
you
cat-
take
little
out
guy.
with your hands with milchiks and then you put in the
Popular
salt for
to
fleshing.
have a dish and put your hands in, especially.
But today
fancy
they have
salt.
the salt. They use a salt shaker. Salt shaker might not be a problem.
That's basic salt.
But if it's heat, maybe the heat can go in through the walls. Was sagt der Rabbi Zwiebel? Today it's different with the salt shakers. If it's open salt and you're taking meat and you're touching it and then you put it in the milk, that's a problem.
It is a problem.
But with a salt shaker, you're not
that's not a
touching the
problem.
salt
The
itself.
ikka meat is in the salt. If you dip a piece of meat into the salt,
No, even if you took with your hands, you're eating chicken and you want to add a little bit more salt. Your hands now touch the pile of salt.
oh, you mean you have fatty in your
You have fatty in your hands, sure, or the milk is the
Oh,
same
because you eat
thing.
with your hands.
You take salt with your hands, and you're eventually touching everything with your hands. But
Okay.
when you have a salt
Shabbos, you don't have
shaker,
a little thing you take out for Shabbos?
Shabbos, what I do is I take the salt shaker, I knock it on the table, and I
People
touch
have
it.
like that little silver one. And they
That
fill it
it's
up, they
open.
put your
That's
hand in.
that's a problem. Yeah.
And the
yeah.
meal, they take it out, they put it in the kitchen, they put it on the
Okay, good. Anyway, something about the chalamai. What if the jug was made out of the jug had vinegar in it? So are you allowed to put it right next to the jug with the kutach? Says Yimon Amalei, Rav Nachman answers, Shari, it's mutter. Yimon Amalei, what's the difference between the two? Why, when it's salt, you say it's also. If it's vinegar, it's perfect. Why? What's the difference? So Rav Nachman answered, hey, you want to answer, you got to pay. L'chiteichol Allah kur the milcha, when you bring me a kur, a big measurement of salt. Okay, then I'll give you I'll give you a reason. But that was just a b'dichusa. It was a joke. He told him as a joke. But in my time, what's the reason? So he said, "Hi isei isur be'enei." When it comes to salt next to kutach, the kutach remains a metzias. It doesn't get dissolved in the salt. It's salty, but it's still a kutach. There's still the meichel is still there be'en. Okay, the high. But when it comes to chemsa vinegar, lacy isur be'enei. If they get mixed up together, meaning if the kutach gets mixed up with the chemetz, you're not going to see the kutach as a metzias on its own. So therefore,
No, it's not. You don't see kuta, but you
it
don't.
gets mixed up with the
But you
chemetz.
don't see it in the vinegar.
So
in the vinegar, you
it's
don't.
not nika, and it's not nice and tam. So if he takes from the chemetz into the tafshel shalbasa,
What did he do with the
the
chametz?
kutach,
What did he do with the chametz? How
let's
did
say
he get
you're afraid it fell into the chemetz.
what fell in
The
meat?
kutach, we're talking about. There's a jug of kutach, and a jug of salt. There we have a problem because the kutach still remains a metzias, and the salt, the kutach will fall into the salt, but the salt you cannot now use together with meat. That's a problem.
Okay.
But the kutach is there. The kutach is a metzias. But if you put a jug of kutach next to a jug of chemetz, and you're afraid that the kutach will fall into the chemetz, the whole metzias of the kutach will disintegrate.
And then what happened?
Or be
Where do you
chemetz.
get to the meat? Where's the meat involved here?
No, you
With
dip.
the-
You use the meat in the chemetz.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a problem, he says, because he says it's not noisim by tam. Here it says, even if you take from the chemetz and you put it into the tafshel basa, the kutach was already in this bottle in the chemetz.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, and it's in this bottle you want. The lashon is kvan this bottle be chemetz. It says it was already in this bottle in the chemetz, so it's not a problem. Okay, so the Gemara ahuba goizola the nafal lechada de chamka. There was this. What are these chicklings? These are small chickens. What are they? Ducklings.
Well, ducklings are small ducks.
Ducklings are small. So chickens.
Chicks.
Chicks. Okay, the chicks. This is shachne chicks fell into a jug of kutach. Shai Rav China B'Rei the Rav B'Hashreinya. Rav China B'Rei the Rav said it's not a problem. It fell into kutach. The chicks fell into the kutach.
Well, they were
So-
dead ones, alive ones.
We're talking
What do you mean
about.
the meat. The meat
It's meat, yeah, but it's raw. He didn't cook it yet, and it fell into the kutach. Amarava man chakim l'mishnei kehai gavna. First of all, the shaila is because kutach has salt in it. It's salty, and we say salt is kirei seyach, mlicha kirei seyach. So it's a shaila. Oh, resich means it's heated up.
Okay.
So maybe it's as if it was cooked together, the milk and the meat. So he tells you, no, Amarabba, man chacham b'shliki gavna. Who's this chacham that was matas such a thing? Ilav Rav China B'Rei the Rava mipashreinya kasav kiyama Shmuel. If it wasn't Rav China B'Rei the Rava from Pashreinya who held like Shmuel, that maliyah harehu kareiseyach, that maliyah, if something is salted, it's like it's cooking. So l'cheda, why was he matter it? Ani mili, he says, Hey, where do we say melichis kireseach? Hey, gedeine nechel machmas milche, where you can't eat the item because it's so salty, then melichis kireseach. But if it's not that salty, we don't say it's like it's heated up. Aval hai kutacha, but this kutach that fell into the chick meat, harei nechel machmas milche.
Chickling too, but
Chickling?
not duckling.
Not
Duckling's a duck.
ducklings. Okay. Then it could be eaten because of its salt. It's not so salty. Okay. So when were these words said? Only chai. Only if it's raw. Avol tzali. But what if this chickling was roasted? Boyi klipa. Then you have to shave off the place, the outside where it touched the kutach. If there are crevices or cracks, then kulias, the whole thing is us because it gets absorbed now from the kutach into the chicken. So then it's cracked. So the kutach is going in. The same thing we had if it was spiced up and it softens the skin, opens the pores, so it goes in. So too, mitabal. If it was spiced up, betam with spices, kulias, the whole thing is going to be yasser. Rav Nachman said the name of Shmuel. Kikar, shachatach ala basa. You have the lafas. So again, we're talking about the lafas.
Yeah.
They put in the shawama in it. So let's say you take the meat and you cut the meat on top of the dough or top of the bread, and the blood comes out. Aslacha. Then you can't eat it.
They use it to take it off the spit too. They grab the meat.
The blood has to be completely out. Now, if the blood is inside it, it's not a problem. You're allowed to eat it. But if the blood comes out, then it becomes ulcer. So here we're afraid, hey, the blood came out and it went into the bread.
What are we talking about? Raw meat here?
We're talking about, the roasted meat. From the tzli. It was roasted. Then now he wants to put it into bread and he starts cutting it and then the blood is dripping on it. So now if the blood drips on the bread, you cannot eat the bread. Okay?
But it's cooked blood already. It's roasted.
But he says there's still blood left over. So when were these words said? The asmik. It's talking about that it was bruised. And what happens by a bruise? That it has a pocket of blood in it. So there's still left over. That it was bruised from its lifetime, and the blood became faglivered, congealed in the behemoth, in the meat. When do we say that this bread is usher? That the blood went through and through to both sides of the bread, went through and through. So then it's usher. And these words were said when the blood was still thick. That makes it still in the gather blood if it's thick. But what's if it's not thick? It's just the very liquidy. Then you don't have the chash because then we consider it just like juice, and the kick is going to be mutter. If it's thick blood, then it's real blood. If it's very liquidy, then we consider it like we said before, like wine, meat wine.
How does it get liquidy? The blood?
Because it's not real blood. It's just we call it the wine of meat. We call it yayin basa, like we said yesterday. If it's mole, if it's going to be liquidy, then it's called yayin basa. Shmuel shadalei lechalbei. Shmuel threw to his dog, and others say it wasn't lechalbei. It says lechalba. It's a hund. People want to say, look, the Tanoim had their own dogs. Kalbei. You have to look at the other gears. But then the Tanya, there's two gears. The Vakim and Halmahint. No, don't think unless you can have a dog here. Anyway, Shmuel
Shmuel was like a doctor, no?
He was. Shmuel Shadeh Leila Kalbei. Shmuel threw this type of bread that blood went through and through. He threw it to his dog. Rav Huna, you have a little shamay. Rav Huna gave it to his shamish. So the Gemara said, yeah, Yiddish shamish. In fact, the Gemara manavshach. Rav Huna is asking, manavshach. Ishari, if the kick is mutter. That he was so the kuliyama shari, so he was allowed to eat it himself. Why did he have to give it to his shamish? Asar, and if the kika was asar, so the kuliyama asar, it should have been even asar to give it to his shamish. How did I want to give it to his shamish?
Like say what I do, but don't do what I
do what I say.
Do what I say. Do what I say, but don't do what I do.
Right. Shiny Rav Huna. So the Rav Huna is different. The Anina Daite, because Rav Huna was a Isnis. He couldn't even look at the blood. He saw blood, it's not for me. He gave it to somebody else. Aber nicht was is given usher. It's not that it was usher. Just he was a Isnis. He couldn't eat it. So the Rava Achalei. Rava would eat this kikar. V'karelei chamar basa. He called it red, like the wine of meat. But it's not real wine. It's not blood. It's we call it since it's liquidy.
Sear, no?
It's like a tear. It's like a juice. Correct. Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, or some of them call it zeya. It's like sweat. It's not. Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. Eimenich kli tach zabasa. Yesterday we had a different name for it. Gudi gidi. This tray that they put on the bottom. So he says you don't place a kli under the meat to gather the fats that drip from it, till all the red is finished. Then you can place the tray and be makabel the fats, the shuman, the gravy, whatever. But kolzman, there's still red coming on it. It's going to be asa
Because the blood is still
because it's
down.
blood. Correct. We need the whole dam to be niflat lagamri from it in order to.
This is when you're roasting meat.
Yes. How do we know that we have to? How do we know when the blood is finished? So when the smoke starts to come out of the meat, others say when it comes out of the coals because of the drips. But here he says when the smoke comes out of the meat, that's a siman that the redness
blood is
finished. Here on the bottom he brings down Rashi. I'm sorry, the shear. He says the shear is kechatzitz liyosei. Like once it's half roasted, then we know the blood is gone. The whole blood is gone. Okay, Zog the Gemara, masculine Ravashi, the effect Hashayla. How is it possible to be serving on such a siman? Maybe you have 2 pieces of meat on it, right? Or even the one piece. The bottom part is finished, but the top.
Still has blood in it.
Maybe still has maybe the top one didn't. Top part of it didn't. The blood didn't finish. Disintegrate. Ravashi says you're right. Less like the kanta. We don't have a real fix for it. He says only on the tray you place the 2 salts and what?
You weren't kidding.
Right. We're almost finished. What? Till what time do we have?
I think 20, no?
10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes. We'll tell a story.
When
Galilei milcha. Till you put 2 salts in it, and the blood goes to it, and that's how you dissolve it. That's how you get rid of it. Umish piyeh, and then you can pour from the upper fats slowly from one kli to another, not letting the blood from the bottom go into the next kli, and therefore you can eat the fats. It's not a big deal. That Shmuel say once the redness of the roasted piece of meat is gone, you're allowed to gather the shuman that's dripping from it, right? And you don't have to worry about the mixture of dam. We just learned bread on the bottom. You're cutting the tzli, the roasted piece of meat. We said asla achla. You're not allowed to eat the bread because the dam that's coming now from the tzli is being absorbed in the kikar. Says the Gemara, that's different. Shiny hasam duchaka the sakina the agav duchaka the sakina polit. If you don't touch it with the knife, then the blood doesn't come out because of the squeezing or the pushing of the sakin. It takes out blood that if the meat itself would not leave out that blood. It's only because of the sakin. But if you wouldn't use a sakin, it's fine. Then you could take whatever gravy falls on it. You don't have to worry. Blood is going to fall on
So
it.
where you put using the knife? What, on the roast?
On the roast itself. When
So what
you
are
cut
you
it,
doing?
you're cutting the roast into pieces.
So
when
you get the you only get
so
the
then the blood is
out.
come. No, the shamnunas will come out. The blood will not
So
come
what does
out.
the knife do? What does he do?
But
with the
once
knife?
you're cutting it into pieces, you're
Why
bringing
was
out
on-
blood.
While it's on the spit.
Yeah, let's say the spit is this way, and you're cutting it,
Yeah.
and you have the laf on the bottom, or the bread on the bottom. So if you're cutting it, there's blood going to come out, even though you're getting the gravy. The best thing is you don't touch it. You let the gravy fall, and you take off the whole meat, and you put it in. But if you want to cut it into pieces, that's a problem. When you're cutting it, it's taking out blood, and even though normally blood would not come out of it, that's why it's being playlist. But if you won't cut the roast, you would only have the gravy, and it's fine.
Don't cut so fast.
Amar Rav Nachman, dog mi over shalom ze im ze. Fish and chickens that were salted one with another, asurin, they're asur because the blood that comes out from the eifis get absorbed into the fish. How are we talking about? If you're talking about not a perforated keli, nicht gegen durchgelechene keli.
Same Yiddish.
Okay, afilu eifis ve'eifis. Then
No,
even
only knows English.
okay, even eifis ve'eifis. Nami asiri, even chickens with chickens. Why do you have to say chicken with fish? A chicken with another chicken should also become asa, because there's nowhere the blood to go, so it's going to absorb from each other, and it's blood. It's out of the eifis, so it should be asa. And if you're talking about that the keli is duchgilach, so he says afilu eifis nami shari. Then even fish with chicken should be mutter
Because it dripped out the bottom.
because it drops out on the bottom. Says you want to light them with a clean menukav. Really, we're talking about a duchgilach kli. It has a holes in the keli. The dogim mishum deraf kramayu. Fish, the skin is very soft, so there the blood comes out much faster. Cut me, you faulty. So right away it starts falling out. The tear starts falling out. The oifa is kimite, but the chickens, they're more rough, harder skin, so the blood doesn't come out that fast. So basa the noichi dogim, if the blood comes out of the fish. So we say the poultry in the time when it's spitting out, it cannot swallow, right? But the fish, it will end up giving out its blood. And basa the naichi dogim, fish is soft skin.
So where's the blood in the fish?
It's sure you cut fish. There's always blood in the. So when the fish comes out of when the blood comes out of the fish, it finishes before the eifis are giving out its blood. So the eifis, huh?
So you can bleed it when you catch it, then the blood goes out. When you fillet it, doesn't. It's already out.
Okay. Right. So, but the fish finished giving out its blood, but the eifis is still giving out blood. So the eifis is not going to swallow the fish blood, but the fish will swallow the eif blood. So therefore, the fish is no good.
Yeah, why would the fish and not exactly?
Because the chickens are still spitting out. While it's spitting out, either the poultry, while it's spitting out, it cannot absorb. So the chicken is continuous, even after the fish stops.
The fish is absorbing its own
Now,
blood.
the
It's not
fish-
absorbing the chicken blood.
It's just absorbing the chicken blood. It finished giving out its blood. They both start off, they cannot, let's say it was two chickens. You put it in together, they're both giving out its blood. None of them are going to become asa. Once it's giving out the blood, you take it out, and neither of them are going to be bailei because it was busy spitting. But when you have a chicken and a fish is much softer, so the blood comes out faster. The chicken is still spitting, and the chicken is not going to be able to absorb. But the fish already finished spitting its blood, so it's going to absorb from the chicken blood. So therefore, the fish is going to be treif, not treif. It's going to be with chicken in it.
With the blood.
With the blood. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Ramari Barachel, Ramari, the daughter of Rachel, Imlach le basa shchut bahad. I'm sorry, Ramari was the son of Rachel. I think was she the daughter of Shmuel? Oh, so there was a whole story. She was in captivity, so they didn't want to say who her father was. Yeah. So Ramari Barachel Imlach le basa shchuta behadit satefa. You heard that's why they didn't mention the father. The father was a ger, and she was in captivity. That's how they got together. Ramari Barachel Imlach le basa shchuta behadit satefa. Ramari, the son of Rachel, took the Gishachna basa, slaughtered basa together with basa teifa, and salted it together. So it's like being cooked together. Also, they came before Rava. They asked him if it's aser amalei. He said that by shratzim we said it becomes aser because it says the word hatmeim. The additional hay comes to tell us of hatmeim, lesser to aser tzira, V'roitvam. Now tzir is like a juice that comes out of meat that you salted. Roitiv is from the heat, from cooking. That's the type of juice it is. V'kipla shalahem, and the pieces, small little pieces that are torn off. So all those are going to be usher. Says, what do I need this pasuk hot maim to tell us that it's going to be usher? If it was cooked together, it should be usher. If it's salted, it's like it's cooked together, and if it's cooked together, and something that's pickled, it's like it's cooked. So if it's cooked together, we know any two, one is treif and one is kosher. If they're cooked together, it's usher. So even the shmul have amina hani mili dama. I would have said it's only usher if it would have been blood. Avol siram v'roitvam. But the juices, I wouldn't think that the treif, the animal usher the kosher, the shchuta. I would say it's not usher. Kamash malan. That's what the haze of hot men come to tell us. Even the juices the gravy could be usher the basar shchuta. Today we learned about the Sefer Torah, Suadaka with the Aleph. Yeah, you saw that Yom Yom. So it was Ameim in Rottenberg.